This northern side will also eventually develop into a sort of screen with the fruit bushes as they grow. We have more along here. This is our pear tree, again very immature. This one did in fact give us blossom, but then, as you would expect in an immature tree, it went black and dropped off. We have a white currant bush. We have two white currant bushes. This is one, and the other white currant bush is over there. That one hasn't done anything, but it was not happy last year, and this year it's happy. This one has started to produce, and we will get some white currants. It's not so urgent that these two need to be netted this week, but they will need to be netted before the end of the month. Cranberry, and finally you can see the little cranberry flowers. This cranberry bush turns 2 years old this growing season. Last year was when I put it in, and it did in fact produce a solitary cranberry. It looks like it's going to produce a good handful. It's not very quick growing, but I'm hoping that it does well. This is our thornless bramble, and I don't know if those are leaf buds or flower buds. I'm a bit concerned that there isn't any flowers on this, to be honest, although I have to say that it's not doing so badly, and I'm trying to sort of get it to wind around all the sort of makeshift trellis there, because I don't want it to go out of control. It is the sort of thing that we can cut back to our heart's content. And of course this here is space for whatever else in the way of fruit bushes we decide to put in. Over here we've got our gourds bay. Gourds are basically overground tubers, and the plants are known to be monstrosities. They basically they are huge, and they have a tendency to have a growing tip that crawls across the floor and over stuff. We've got pumpkins, our 2 pumpkins here. Thought that one would die, but it does look in fact like it's coming back. Sorry, those are our squashes in fact. These are our pumpkins. You can see that they pretty much all look the same. And then over here we have our courgettes. The courgettes don't tend to move around so much, but they will take up this entire space. It will be a that bigger thing once it starts growing. It looks like we've lost one already. I am hoping to get some yellow courgettes as well, because we still have some space here, and maybe some actual gourd plants. And if we can find some butternut squash, that would be lovely. We have a marrow plant here, and you can see that, like the courgette, it started to grow, and it basically comes out from the middle, and it will be, you know, they're almost about a foot across when they're fully grown. Our central strip here, this area here is going to be for the conservatory stuff. So we're going to have a go with our cucumbers again, and we're going to have some tomatoes. I want some red and some yellow ones if possible, and that is a temporary structure because I want to build a brick structure here that I can put, I don't know if I can zoom in, that on top, which is basically a cold frame roof on top. These are the aubergines. There's 2 of them, and they are looking happier than they were when I put them in. Rainbow Ruby Swiss Chard. Don't know whether those are going to take yet. I do hope so. They're not standing up yet. They have only just gone in. Spinach. That was a reduced price thing, which I thought would die as well, and I planted them in clumps, and they've done very, very well. That is almost harvestable now. Horseradish, and the root has been buried, and God only knows what is going on there, because I haven't seen anything come up or anything. Potatoes. Our potatoes are part of 4 different categories of vegetables that are in rotational bays. So there's 4 rotational bays. One, that's the second one there. The third one is there, and the fourth one is there, and the idea is that each type of vegetable takes something out of the soil and gives something back in. Therefore you should only use that bit of soil for that particular crop once every few years. So you rotate it. You have all the similar crops in the same bays, and then each year you move the ones around. So the potatoes are here this year. They were across there last year, and they shall be over there next year. And that's how you do it with the rotational bays. These we've got earlies, which are along here, you can see. The main crops, which are the mids, across here. The lates, which haven't actually done so well yet. And these are red potatoes. You can see they are slightly different. Now, potatoes are tubers that grow underground, but they do in fact flower there, and when the flower dies, they do have a seed pod that looks a little bit like an unripened tomato. We haven't actually got that far yet. We only have the flowers on our earlies, which is about right time-wise. And what you do is you wait for the potato plant. You plant it deep. When it grows up, you keep burying it, and you bury and bury and bury it, which is why they're sort of in raised grooves, and eventually it will just quickly grow up through, and you leave it, and then when it dies you dig it up, and there should be the potatoes underneath. This is our brassica bay, but as you can see, because we don't have a legumes bay, we have our legumes, most of our legumes, in with our brassicas. And with the brassicas we've got, now let me get this right, I think that's broccoli, I think that's cauliflower, and I think that's sprouts there. There is green cabbage there, red cabbage there. The slugs don't like the red cabbage, and it looks purple to begin with, because all these things, again, when they're young, just like all the gourds, they look all like the same thing, and they don't start developing their individual things until much later. But you can tell what's red and what's green, because the red plants are a purple colour. That's your tender heart cabbage, and this is my purple sprouting broccoli, which is actually a winter crop, and it will be next February or March before the heads come up and we can eat that. Across here we've got some beans. These are my French beans. No, they're not, they're my broad beans, and you can see that they flower in descending ranks. They actually smell quite nice, and each flower is a pod. And you plant these things and they're quite weak and stringy, and you think they'll never survive, and then there comes a point when overnight they suddenly stand up. It was very strange, very strange. These were all lying down last week, and then as soon as one started to flower, the stem got really, really hard there, and it, instead of lying down, it rose up. If we go across here, and we have, now I think these are the French beans. These are the little sort of green beans, basically. That's one that shouldn't be there. There's one or two that have been planted in the wrong place by the looks of it. Again, with the trellis, you see how they get hold of the trellis and they wind themselves round. See, look, he's decided that he's going to wind himself round and go up as well. That one's just about to start. Oh, there's another one, and you can even see some flowers on that one. And basically, they're climbers. They are climbers. We've built wigwams for some. These are runners. These are supposed to go up quite high, and you can see, again, he's wound himself around. They put out little feelers, like those, which are on our monge too, and when the feelers touch something solid, they wrap themselves around. So these are the monge too. There we are. This is kale, curly kale, which means that this must be the Savoy cabbage. And all of this is under netting at the moment to protect it, not from the birds, but to protect it from cabbage white butterflies. Cabbage white butterflies come in, they lay their eggs under the leaves of these brassicas, and then the caterpillars eat the brassicas when they're born, and there can be multitudes of them, and I can't bring myself to kill them. So when it happened the first year, I was plucking them all off, and they all died of hypoxia because I put them into a box with no air holes and just left it until they all died. But I couldn't bring myself to squeeze their little heads and make them pop. It was just revolting. So anyway, that's our brassica bed with a lot of the legumes in. This is supposed to be our root vegetable bed, but it's not at the moment. Well, it is, sort of. At the moment we have a load of parsnips down the bottom here. Parsnips we sow generally from seed, but they take a very long time to germinate. And so this year we decided that we were just going to stick in some plants. Over there's some celeriac, which will be a ball at the base. Here is where I'm probably going to put swede, turnip, something like that sort of thing. So it will be root veg along here. And this is going to be our sweet corn field. You plant sweet corn in a square or a rectangle because it needs to be close, needs to be in a sort of formation, basically to pollinate. And over here we've got baby corn. No, baby corn is not just small sweet corn, it's actually a different type of plant. Although, again, with everything at this stage, they look exactly the same. This grows extremely tall. Up here it will be as high as me. The flowers will be on the top, and the fruit will develop from little nodes along the stem, actually, not the flower. Now these are artichokes, and artichokes are one of my peculiarities this year. They are not really a root vegetable. I don't know what you call them really. I don't know which category they fall in, because they are... I think it's a flower that you eat in the end. To me, they look horribly like thistles. And I had thought that most of them were going to die. I'm told they grow quite big, and I planted them quite close together thinking most of them will die. Now it looks like they're all going to survive, and I don't know what's going on with that. Over here, this is our allium bay, and alliums are basically leeks, garlic, chives, onions, that sort of stuff. We have got some leeks, you can see, and you plant them in holes, and you don't fill in the hole because the idea is that the leek expands to fill the hole. Red onions there, shallots, looking extremely good, very nice, the shallots. Our normal bank of onion, and then here we've got summer garlic. When I mean summer garlic, I mean garlic that's actually planted in spring and harvested in the summer, as opposed to normal garlic which is planted in the autumn and harvested in the summer, which I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do this year. We have got a bit of space in this bay, so we may fill it with sort of other stuff. The only thing at the moment that we're ruling out is celery, because you need to force it. We tried that one year and it didn't work. Asparagus, because it takes 3 years, and fennel because it attracts wasps. We're not doing that. As I said, unfortunately some of the root veg is not actually in the root veg area. It's over here instead.